I'm Corbett Wall with USDA Livestock and Grain Market News, here with your feeder cattle market summary for the week ending March the 22nd, where feeder cattle going right into the feedlot were fully $3 to $6 lower, both in the auctions and in the direct trade, which you don't normally see the full drop in the direct trade, but it's very indicative of the lack of support from the futures market. Stocker cattle and calves sold $3 to $10 lower where they were fully tested, and that includes all of the southeast and in the area of the southern plains and places where they were really tested well. But that's just fueled from this cool market in the major grazing areas that we're just lacking the warmth and the sunshine to really spark that grass and get it going, and guys are not really in full spring grass fever mode. Also, just because this feeder cattle market has dropped so much that most people don't believe it's going to have a quick turnaround, so they just got to readjust what they're going to give for these cattle that they're going to background. Your regional weighted averages in all three major regions are north central, south central, and the southeast. All classes of feeder cattle and calves are now well within the $20 to $25 lower than the same time a year ago, which at this time a year ago we were setting all-time record highs in most every weight class on feeder cattle. But no footing was found this week in your feeder cattle market. They're basically just looking at feed costs right now. Everybody's paying over $7 for corn. Any corn that they bought early is all gone now, and they've just found out they can't pay $7 for corn and try to fatten these cattle. It won't work. And if they continue to figure their break-evens on what these feed costs are right now, this feeder cattle market has ways to go farther down, because you can't buy the cattle at today's prices and feed them the feed costs that we've had here for the last few months and make them come out anywhere close to where the board shows that these cattle are going to come out. And the board doesn't start to spark much until next fall. But a lot of these cattle are coming out. If they've been in a full tenure over 130 days or more, these cattle are having a $750 feed bill per head. You figure that back to what they cost, and these losses are really mounting. We had a cattle on feed report this Friday. It continues to show how these numbers are just dropping off. Your March 1st cattle inventory on feed was just 93% of a year ago, which was just about what they expected. Your fed cattle marketings going out the other end of the feedlot was also 93%, which was about what they expected. But your February placements were 86% of a year ago. Average of analyst guess was 91, so significantly lower. In fact, that 86% is lower than the lowest expectation from the industry analysts that are paneled for that. But not very many cattle movement. But at this time you've got real tight availability of feeder cattle and light demand, which you just don't normally see. But the feed costs and the lack of support from the cash fed cattle market is really just messing up your normal economic plan here. But just like the cattle feeders have seen that you can't feed $7 corn to cattle, your cow-calf producers are seeing that. A lot of them running out of feed. They're having to buy hay. The price varies widely, but a lot of guys are paying well over $100 for a round bale. You can't hold a herd on $100 round bales. You might be able to get to spring right now through the end, but you don't want to make a habit out of that. But what we really need is rain, lots of it, warm weather, lots of it. It's supposed to be spring, but we have yet to see that. You get very much north of I-40, and it's just cold and cloudy every day. We have yet to see this grass really spark. Your Flint Hills have had some moisture. They haven't had any warm weather yet. We've got another snowstorm scheduled to come across this weekend. So, we're going to be hiding Easter eggs in the snow drifts, and that's not good for early grazing, and that's what everybody needs right now, is to get these cattle off their feed bill and get them turned out. Fat cattle this week, $1 to $2 lower from 124 to 125 and a half, $3 lower, 198 dressed. Regional weighted averages this week in the feeder cattle market in your north central states this week, an 800 to 900 pound steer cost you $126.54 compared to $129.73 last week and $146.33 a year ago. Down in the south central states, a 6-weight steer cost you $145.03 compared to $147.66 last week and $167.16 a year ago. Down in the southeast, 400 to 500 pound steer, most people be buying this time of the year to turn out, cost $158.38 compared to $164.62 last week and $184.01 the same week a year ago. That wraps up your feeder cattle market summary for this week. Check out our website for more market information at marketnews.usda.gov. From the Regional Market News Office in St. Joe, Missouri, we'll talk to you next week.